In part 3 of our cooperative series, we're going to move into one where one player breaks off from the crowd and is going to be the overlord, trying to defeat the rest of the group in one versus many.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, Steve.
What's worse than having Captain Hook as your masseuse?
I don't know, Steve. What's worse?
Having Jack the Ripper as your surgeon.
It's terrible. Oh, my, get out of the way, please. It's terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. All the humanity and all the bastards.
All right, well, one versus many is the topic of part 3. And this is where, obviously, one player plays an overlord, plays the dungeon master, like in Dungeons and Dragons and all those different things, while the rest of the players are cooperating together against whatever he's pitted against them, right? So what, we got like games like dungeon crawl style games and that sort of thing.
Super Dungeon Explorer is one I'm thinking of.
Sure, absolutely, where they play the console, so to speak. Now, I gotta say that I love these games. I think these are fantastic. And it's funny because I've talked to so many different people that say their group never wants to be the one in the one versus many. They always want to be the cooperative group, and they fight over who has to play the overlord. Well, it's funny because in our group, we're always fighting to be the overlord.
I've actually stopped asking. Like, honestly, my rule of thumb is if Steve is there, I want him to be the overlord because he's always near impossible to beat.
It definitely depends on the game, but yes, for sure, Steve's very good at hiding and moving and keeping us at bay.
But otherwise, I'm just happy playing the game. I'm gonna take it or leave the overlord. I know other people get really psyched about being the overlord. So, and sometimes it's so stressful being the overlord, I can't handle it. So,
Stress is a big turnoff for you. But listen,
makes me stupid.
We gotta find what relaxes you, Chris. Listen, I got a lot of hell to unleash. That's why I like being the one.
It's funny because we actually sometimes skip just playing them because I'm like, Steve's going to want to be the overlord, and I want to be the overlord. Let's just play something else. So we don't have to, one of us doesn't have to be sad. Well, Steve, I know one specific one versus many game that it has to be on your list.
That's right. My favorite in this little, genre is Letters from Whitechapel. And in this game, you play the role of either Jack the Ripper or a bunch of police called bobbies because they're British and everything's weird over there. What you do is Jack the Ripper, over the course of 4 nights, has to murder X number of ladies of the night and then get back to his hideout. And there are designated areas on the board, which is a big map of Whitechapel, which is apparently some district in London. Who knew? Anyway.
Everybody.
I know. Anyway. So the game is basically hide from the bobbies, or if you were the bobbies, catch Jack. And that's what's fun because Jack has tricks up his sleeve. He can hop in a carriage. He can cut through an alleyway. He can do all kinds of stuff on the board that the bobbies can't match. So they have a tough time tracking him. And the trick is once you've murdered somebody in a location, you can't murder anybody else in that location. So as the game progresses, your choices for murdering people go down until the end. They kind of know where you're going to be through the process of elimination on your last round. You have to figure out how you're going to evade them who are closing in on you fast and get back to your house. And that's exciting.
This is like that old Scotland Yard game.
Yes.
Amped up a couple notches, and that's what I liked about it. I don't play this game very often because I'm not a huge Scotland Yard fan. There's other games I'd rather play, like Fury of Dracula or something along those lines. But the simple fact that they took this relatively basic hidden movement game and created something a little cooler out of it. And Steve loves this game.
What's the thing?
It's so funny.
You mentioned earlier that Steve's really good at this. Is the game that he's amazing at.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I don't want to play it with Steve because I can't beat him. If I'm playing Jack, he finds me. If he's playing Jack, I can't find him, and I'll play for 2 hours and never see him. I don't know what it is that I'm so bad at this game. I love it, It's a really good game, and it's very pure in comparison to a lot of the hidden movement games that are out there.
Yes.
It's pure. Like, they don't have a lot of junk thrown in there.
No,
Yeah, they don't.
in
There's
fact,
no like items or anything like that. It's
Just
basically
a couple of things, like the carriages,
yeah.
and you can go down an alleyway, and that's like it.
Yep.
You know?
And once they find you, or once you find Jack, whichever side you're on, that game's over. There's no fighting. There's no getting away.
Sure.
You're caught. The game's done.
Now they did have that like add-on that you can use, which are the letters, right? They give you like a
we never
special.
played it with that.
Is it like they give you a special ability or something?
I don't
I can't
remember.
remember.
Yeah, I've never played that either. I'm
But
just
that-
talking about the base game here.
That I guess makes it more gamey.
Yeah, I don't know. But it is a good game. Now, my game that I have on my list is very, very similar to Steve's, but it's gamier, as we would say there. Fury of Dracula. This is my absolute favorite hidden movement, one versus many game. And this is the exact same thing, basically. One player plays Dracula and everybody else plays the Hunters, Van Helsing and Mina Harker and all of them. And Dracula's running around Europe in different cities, leaving behind traps. And the hunters go into the cities. If there's a trap there, the trap gets sprung, and they have to deal with, I don't know, like gypsies or bats
wolves.
or fog, wolves, all that different stuff. And Dracula also has abilities, like he can turn into wolves and he can move extra spaces. He has to feed every now and then so he can heal some life back up, but it's very difficult to do that. And then there's also decks of cards where both the hunters and Dracula can be playing them. And when you find Dracula, unlike in Letters from Whitechapel, you fight Dracula in combat. So you actually have to beat him. So you might find him multiple times throughout the game, and eventually you'll kill him because you'll just whittle down his health and he can't heal it back fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
I love this game so much. This is one of the early games that we bought. Like this, I think it was the second edition. Now a third edition is out, which is significantly better than the second edition. But we played this game at least 2-3 times a year for the past, I don't know, decade now.
Yeah. I'm so glad they came out with third edition too, because not only did people really want this game, and it was, you couldn't get it without paying an arm and a leg for the longest time. And then they came out with third edition. Also, it changed some of the rules around, and I think it made it less fiddly. I mean, it's still a somewhat fiddly game, but it made it a lot less fiddly. The combat's cooler. I think it's a little more difficult to find Dracula. There's less like randomly, suddenly we know exactly where he is.
They took out a bunch of the bullshit cards, and that made me very happy.
Yeah.
Because there were some cards that we just removed from the game.
Yeah, we
because we
house-ruled
couldn't
them out.
handle it.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, just get rid of it. It's like an I win card, or not an I win card. It's a game reset card.
Yeah.
Where like Dracula could just move to any city on the board. And you're like, well, you're starting over the game now.
Yeah. So annoying.
That's gone from the third edition. So I'm so happy about that.
Well, I really like this game too. This is very similar to Letters from Whitechapel, which I just mentioned, but it is much more epic in scale. And I use that word correctly because
Good job, Steve.
you're on
English.
man, you are in a continent. You're running all over Europe instead of just in Whitechapel. I tell you what, playing this game, you feel like you're a Sauron trying to find Frodo, because Dracula, you don't know where that guy is. He's always moving around. Now, Frodo's a little nastier in this because he, bites you and attacks you with things, and he's really hard to kill. But other than that, straight comparison.
I love it. I love it. Fury of Dracula.
Does Letters have like a movement track that the people can uncover? I can't remember. It's been so long since.
Yeah, he leaves behind clues, and if
Yeah.
you go to a spot, like you'll uncover clues, and you'll find his trail and then follow it. But it's different from Dracula because Dracula is actually like a track of cards of the cities he's been.
Yeah.
And when you go to those cities and investigate, you turn over the card, you know he's been there in the past.
Yeah.
I like that better than
I do too. It's
Whitechapel.
It's kind of
honestly.
fun. Yeah.
All right, so we got Letters from Whitechapel, Fury of Dracula, similar style game. Chris, what is yours?
Okay. Well, my one versus many game is a game I thought I would not like.
Really?
When it first got to the table, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to dig this.
That's every game Chris loves. He originally thinks he won't like.
It's true. No, lately it seems to be the way it is. But I was picked to be the overlord or the console, and I was very anxious about doing so. But I'll tell you, when I played it, I fell in love with this game. And that game is Spectre Ops. The game based in the future where one person plays a spy trying to infiltrate and set a bunch of bombs using hidden movement mechanics. And all the other players play unique kind of hero roles that have special abilities and special tactics that they're going to use. I like that the spy, the other players don't know who the spy is and what the spy's abilities are until revealed. So there are like, I think 4 different spies you can be, and each spy has a certain set of equipment they can pick from. So it kind of randomizes and leaves a little bit of tension. The other thing I love is right off the bat, the game is like set into high gear because the spy is literally only like a couple spaces away from the heroes and has to figure out how to get away and mislead them so they can go out and do their bombing stuff.
So this is the game that I think Emerson Matsuuchi designed this game. And I feel very much like he took what Letters from Whitechapel did, what Fury of Dracula did, and refined it down to what was fun about those games and made that the game, right? Like exactly like you just said. You know where the spy guy is going to start in Spectre Ops. You know the space. He's right there. It's the door. He comes in the door, right? Well, in Fury of Dracula and Letters from Whitechapel, you're not sure where exactly he started.
It could be on any dot on the board, essentially.
Well, like it's where the murders happen.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly if they're set in stone, but at least for Fury of Dracula, you pick the city you start in. Yeah. The players have no idea. So there's a period of trying to find his trail at the beginning of Fury of Dracula. In Spectre Ops, man, you are out of the gate, know where he is, and you're on the chase. The chase starts at the beginning of the game, and you have to lose the other players. Yeah, man, it's exciting. It's an exciting game.
That's what I think is great. I mean, I've played games of Fury of Dracula where I'm Dracula and I'm just kind of meandering around the board and not stressed at all because they can't find me. They're all the way over there or whatever, right at the start of the game. And this, man, I was so tense. Like, it was so tense. It was great.
I get excited when I play Fury of Dracula when people find me.
Yeah.
You know, as a matter of fact, like I play a very aggressive Dracula in Fury of Dracula, trying to kill players as opposed to try to evade players, because it's more fun when they know where I'm at. And I'm trying to play like the aggressive strategy, right? And Spectre Ops is this way. Of course, in Spectre Ops, you don't like kill the other players.
You just blow their stuff up.
Yeah, just blow their stuff up. But it's neat. I love the abilities that they have. There's a car that you can use that drives around and does things. I still like Fury of Dracula better, but Spectre Ops is on point, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I really like about Spectre Ops is that it has the hide and seek aspect of these other games, but it also, once you've been found, turns into like a tactical shooter game where one person in your team, you know, it could be the spotter. They're trying to keep their eyes on the hidden guy. And the other team members are coordinating. They're moving around, trying to get good shots on him, trying to take that guy down before he can get away.
And I think that's cool. It has line of sight mechanics too. So you've got to figure out how to get across this alley when the guy's sitting there with his sniper rifle staring down it. And, you know, luckily you have gear that can help you do that sometimes.
And that feels very much like Nuns on the Run.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, these two plus Nuns on the Run is Spectre Ops, right?
Yeah, but instead of stealing the chocolate cake, you're blowing things up.
And instead of carrying switches, you're carrying machine gun.
Yeah, right. Spectre Ops. I love it.
It's good.
Great game.
Good game. Yes. All right. Well, that's our 3 one versus many games. Come on back tomorrow for our final part of the series, where we're going to talk about the elusive and the very, very rare semi-cooperative game.
The anticipation is killing me.
Thanks so much, everybody. If you've enjoyed this video, please do us a giant favor by subscribing to the channel and clicking that wacky bell icon. If you're into board games, miniatures games, role-playing games, we have a bunch of audio podcasts you might enjoy. You can find those at thesecretcabal.com or on iTunes and Stitcher.